is Jen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the mid-year check-in tag, even though I know I'm a little late. So the first question is, how many books have you read this year? I have read 35 books, and my Goodreads goal for the year was to read 30. So I'm super happy about that. I'm already 5 books ahead of what I planned to be in December. I had set I had set a smaller goal this year because last year I didn't do hardly any reading at all. Probably something to do with the pandemic. I just wasn't in the mood to read. So I wasn't really sure if I was going to be feeling the same way or not, but luckily I got out of that whole year slump and I am doing good now. Our second question is, what is your favorite book that you've read so far? And I feel like I talk about it every time, but my favorite book so far by a long shot has been Senlin Ascends by Josiah Bancroft. And oh my gosh, I just love this series so much. I binged all 3 books that are out as soon as I read this one. It was so much better than I anticipated. I've read a lot of good books this year too, and this one was definitely my favorite. I kind of want to reread it already. So that one definitely takes the cake. The most disappointing read this year, I feel like Yumi's down here, so I feel like my most disappointing read this year could be a little controversial, I don't know, but I started reading the Third Law trilogy and I was loving it. I loved The Blade itself and Before They're Hanged, and then I started reading The Last Argument of Kings and I was loving it still, but that ending, guys, I felt like the ending made everything that had happened so far in the books pointless. And I know he has some other books set in the same world. I don't know if I want to deal with that after the disappointment that was this one. So let me know if you guys had any similar feelings if you read this one. I really wanted to like it too, and I was loving it, but then that meme or whatever where it's when there's too many things that need to happen and there's only 50 pages left. That's how this one was. There was way too many things that needed to happen. If this book was doubled in size and we got more, I would have been so happy. It's just the ending ruined it for me. Might be a little controversial, sorry. Question number 4 is, what genre have you read the most of this year? I have read mostly horror this year. I have read 16 horror books. Fantasy coming in at second place with 10 or 11, I think it was. But that makes sense because horror is typically my favorite genre. I was in a big fantasy kick there for a while, and that's all I wanted to read. But The Last Argument of Kings fixed that for me, and now I'm back on horror. Number 5 is, what is a new favorite author that you have discovered? I feel like the easy answer is Josiah Bancroft. I know that the 4th book in this series is coming out in November. I will be buying it instantly, and I will be buying anything else that he ever puts out. This was amazing. Number 6 is the most surprisingly good books that you've read this year, and I feel like I have a pretty decent one for this one, at least for me. So I wanted something to just listen to while I was in the car or while I was working on getting my classroom ready for the year. And so I was just kind of scrolling through the Libby app for my library, and I came across I'll Be Gone in the Dark, and I had never really had an interest in true crime or anything. I don't usually like reading nonfiction books, so I just didn't think I'd be into it. But I had heard so much about that on BookTube, and it was available, so I was just like, I'll go on and give it a go. I listened to that whole thing in one day, I think. Or it was less than 24 hours that I listened to it all, I believe. And it was so good. Oh my gosh, I absolutely loved it. And now I'm on a big true crime kick, obviously, so the next book I had to read or listen to was The Stranger Beside Me, And oh my gosh, that one was amazing too. It was so sad. Both of these were very sad to listen to at times and very creepy because they're true. But I just enjoyed listening to them so much, so it's kind of got me on a little bit of a true crime kick. I typically have been only listening to them if they're available at my library, but it's been it's been a pretty nice way to pass the time or just give me something to listen to if I don't have any podcasts or anything that are available, so that's been nice. Number 7 is my most anticipated release of 2021, and I have 2, obviously. I want the 4th book in the Books of Babel series, which is The Fall of Babel. That comes out in November. I can't wait for that. And the other one is Leviathan Falls, which is the final book in the Expanse series. Oh my gosh. Both of these books, I'm picking them up immediately, and I'm going to be tearing through them as soon as I get them. Number 8 is what's your next big reading priority? I'm very much a mood reader. I just kind of read whatever I feel like at the time, so I don't have like a big set TBR typically, but I keep hearing a lot of things about Exquisite Corpse by Poppy Z. Bright and how crazy and horrifying that is, and I really, really want to get to that. I don't own it yet, but I think I'm going to order it soon, so that's probably, once that I break down and order that, that's probably going to be my next read. Number 9 is what has been your bookish highlight of the year so far. I think my biggest highlight has just been getting back into reading after, like I said, I had a really crappy reading year in 2020. I just didn't feel like putting any mental energy in reading. I just watched a bunch of stuff in 2020. But I've been really happy with getting back into reading again, and I've also been really happy with getting into true crime because that's just been really interesting, and it's not something that I had ever gotten into before, so I'm really excited about that too. Number 10 is what is a book you've started this year that you still need to finish? I'm very much a person who finishes one book, or I usually have 1 or 2 books going, I guess, like maybe like an audiobook and then the physical copy of something that I'm reading. And I almost always finish the book before I start a new one. And I don't have any qualms with DNFing books. I DNF books all the time. I don't feel bad about it. If it's boring, I don't want to waste my time on it. But there's one book that I've DNF'd, but I feel like I'm going to go back to it just because it's short. And that is The Cipher by Kathy Koja. And I'm like about 50% into it, but I was just getting really bored with it. I didn't like any of the characters. I felt like the same thing kept happening over and over again. However, I know people love this book, so I feel like one day I'm just gonna pick it up and finish it really quick because I still don't know what happens. I'm still interested in what the deal is, but this is the only one I need to finish, which is shameful since it's only, how many pages is this? It's only like 216 pages, so it's shameful that that's the book that I haven't finished. Number 11 is the best classic that you've read so far this year. I don't really read classics. I've read a few that I, was forced to read in high school or whatever, but I don't think I've read any classics since high school. They just don't usually do it for me, so not my thing. And number 12 is who do you tag? I know I'm like a month behind on these mid-year book tag things, so I'm not going to tag anybody, but if you haven't done it already and you're late like me, go on and do it. And that is all I've got for you guys today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.